All right, guys. Monday morning, the day after the race. I'm with my wife at O'Hare. We are going to Puerto Rico. She has a work trip that was going to take her there, and it's going to be tough to cram myself into an airplane for 5 hours. But then we'll be in Puerto Rico for a couple of days. She'll be busy most of the day doing work stuff, but I'm just gonna relax and recover and take a little bit of time off. She already took the girls back to Iowa, Grandma and Grandpa's house. So that's where they'll be for the next couple of days. It'll be a short trip, but I think a really great place to relax. I'm looking forward to it. Good morning, everybody. Beautiful place along the shores of San Juan. To give you a race recap, kind of everything that happened. And there's so much to talk about. I probably will forget a whole bunch of things, but I'll sprinkle them in subsequent videos if I forget. I hope I don't forget anything. First thing I want to do is I want to read this. I got a note as I was checking out after the race from the hotel. I had another package from Nike. It says, "Mike, congrats on crossing the finish line and chasing your crazy dream. To keep you connected to NRC and NTC, here is an Apple Series 4 watch. Hashtag just do it," from the Nike team. And this is what they gave me. Space gray aluminum case, black Nike Sport Loop. This is gonna get a lot of use. I'm very excited to use that. I'll unbox it and go over it and put it through its paces as well, just like I do everything else on the channel. Very excited to use that. Also, something that they gave me and included in that bag was a pair of the React Element 87. This is the Neptune green version. This is an amazing shoe. It's got a cork insole, and the upper material is transparent. There's a lot of reflective elements built into this thing. It is a weird looking shoe when you hold it and you see pictures of it online. It looks really weird, but when you put it on your feet, it looks amazing and it feels pretty good to wear too. And so I've been wearing them. I wore them all around town yesterday, going to a Nike after party, and then I went to the 312 after party as well. 3Run2 after party. I was just wearing all my stuff there, basically showing it all off. Got a lot of compliments on it. Very happy to wear them. They were a very comfortable after marathon shoe. As far as the marathon itself, so the original plan was to try and shoot for 3:30, and I was gonna line up with a 3:30 pace group and just stay with them until about the half, and then adjust from there. Maybe going as far as trying to catch the 3:25 pace group by the end of the race, but thinking that a very doable goal would be 3:27. I ended up at 3:17:47, which was a 25-minute PR from last time, and I'm just amazed by it. What happened was I got there in Corral B, and I've been talking to Black Bean Queen about kind of where we were going to be lining up, what corrals we were in, and I realized then that I was in a much faster corral than I should have been in. And on the morning of the race, once the pacers came in with their flags, there was a pace group for the 3-hour goal pace and 3 hours and 10 minutes. And I thought, this is a problem. I'm going to be in everyone's way. I'm trying to stay calm and run slow in the beginning of the race. Everyone else is going to be going much faster than me. So I tried to go back to the C corral or even the D corral, because the C corral only had a 3:20 pace group. and I didn't even see a 3:30 pace group anywhere. And in any event, I couldn't even get back to those because I would have had to like walk all the way around, and we were getting to the point where the corrals were nearly closing. And so well, I decided I was just going to stick to the side and kind of let everyone run past me, kind of like hugging the wall. But as the group started moving forward, as like the elite runners and then the American development and then Corral A went forward, things were inching up, and I just kept moving backwards, kind of like swimming upstream until I got to the C corral, and then I ducked into the C corral from there, and then even walked back towards the end of the C corral. And so I started at the end of C, and I had no pace group at all that I was near. That was a problem because the first mile of the Chicago Marathon, GPS is crazy. You go underneath an underpass, and then you're weaving in through a lot of tall buildings, and so I had really no idea how fast I was going. I was just trying to find people that looked like they were running a steady pace and not kind of going too crazy or working too hard, and I tried to just kind of stay with them. I was manually resetting the pace on my watch, or the lap timer on my watch every time I hit a mile marker, and so I did that. And as I was getting to see my wife for the first time around mile 6.5, I was getting really nervous because I started to feel not tired, but I was feeling not comfortable. It didn't feel like an easy run. And so I was really nervous that I was running way too fast and I couldn't keep up whatever pace I was running at. And I think at that point, I'll have to go back and look at the splits to be exactly sure, but I felt like I was running in the 7:30s for each mile. And then I saw my wife again as we came back down Broadway at the 8.5 mile mark. At that point, I wouldn't see her again, I knew, until Chinatown, which would have been at mile 21. And so at that point, I knew I was kind of on my own. And I'm not sure exactly what point I saw them, but then I saw a pace group ahead of me, and I decided I'm going to go try and catch that pace group just so I have some people to run with. And it ended up being the 3-hour 20-minute pace group, a time that is just insane, if you ask me. I had no business being there, but I figured if I saw when they started ahead of me. They were at like the beginning of the corral and I was at the end of it. And if I had already been able to catch them before the half marathon mark and run with them, then if I could catch them, then I could surely run with them for a while. And so I ran with them for several miles until about mile 13.5, 14. At that point, it seemed like they really slowed down. And it didn't feel like I was running faster, but it felt like I kept pushing ahead of the pack, and then I was in line with the pace leader, and then I was ahead of them, and I just thought I was just gonna keep going and run by feel. And I was really nervous about that because that was about mile 15. And after that, there were no more pace groups to speak of. I never saw the 3:10 pace group, which makes sense. I never saw a 3:15 pace group either. And so I was just a little bit nervous because I had no idea where I was. But I decided I was gonna try and find a handful of people that looked like they had been running about the same pace as me, or maybe I'd seen them going back and forth depending on the water stations, we were all kind of running about the same. And so I kind of ran with them for a while, but then even then some of them took off or some of them dropped back, and I just kind of had to run. And some of the miles, there was a point where I looked down at my watch and I was running a sub-7 mile. I don't think those were very long. But then there were some times where I was running 7:45. I felt the energy draining, but I didn't feel tired or exhausted. So I felt strong. I felt good about things overall. And then we hit mile 19, or 18.5, 19, where we hit Pilsen. And from there, I was talking with Britt after the race, Brittness on Instagram. And she's like, yeah, once you hit Pilsen, the whole tone of the race changes. It gets really boozy and a little bit out of hand. From that point on, and she's right, because that's kind of where most of the spectators die off until you get to the way end again, and so it's a little bit of no man's land, and it gives the people in those communities a little bit of leeway to have a little bit more fun. And so that was definitely true. I'm pretty sure I know they were giving out orange slices and bananas. I didn't see any tamales this year, but I definitely saw at one point a lady had like a box full of little Ziploc bags full of like colored liquid. It could have been Kool-Aid. It could have been, you know, like snake blood. It could have been tequila shots. I'm not sure. It could have been all three. But I wasn't brave enough to try one, but the guy next to me did. But he had a hard time getting it open and ended up spilling a lot of it on himself. But I thought that was just amazing. But overall, I never really ran with any one or two people for very long, the entire race. Because I think towards the end, I thought I would try to keep it at 7:15 for my final miles. And I don't know what pace that converts to, but that's what it looked like on my watch. And I thought that's kind of like whatever that pace actually was, that's kind of what I was going to try to maintain for the last 7 miles or so. At mile 21, I saw my wife again. She had packed another gel and 2 little snack bags of pretzels for me in case I was feeling like I needed salt, or I had packed 4 Martin gels. I went through them really quickly. Well, the first 2 I went through really quickly at mile 4 and mile like 8.5 or 9. But then I didn't eat the other one until 15 and then mile like 20. And so I waved it off. I didn't want it. I just said hi to her, and seeing her cheer me on with a poster that she had made with pictures of me on one side and on the other side pictures of me with the kids on the other was more support than I think she knows. And so that was really great to see. And then the last, like 2 miles of the marathon are just brutal. Because you keep going in turns and you keep thinking this is the last turn and then I'll be up the final stretch, and then it isn't. And you turn again and it still isn't. And you're through this neighborhood you've never been in before, and it doesn't even look like Chicago. It's just some weird residential not weird, but a residential neighborhood. And for whatever reason, you still seem to be running farther away from the city. And then finally you start getting on that home stretch and you start seeing all the crowds again. I saw my wife one last time at mile 25. I yelled to her, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I'll see you at the finish. I kept going, but as soon as I saw her, then a huge biting wind came through, and it was just a gut punch, and it was killer, and I was tired. And then at that point, they keep having sign markers, and there was still 800 meters left, and I was like, oh God, there's still a lot more race left. And then you turn up on Roosevelt, and there's like one of the only real hills, and there's like 2 like hills in the race, and this was the other one. It's in the last like 400 meters of the race, and it's a viaduct going over the commuter rail tracks. And I saw a lot of people just dying coming up that hill. They were basically 25.9 miles in, and then they died because of that last little hill. And I was trying to encourage as many of them to go as I could. I kept saying, only 1 lap around the track left. Let's go. Let's do it. Just because at that point we all needed as much support as we could. And then I rounded the curve. I saw the Nike symbols. I saw the Bank of America marathon symbols, and then I turned and I saw the finish line, and I just felt fantastic. I felt miserable, but I felt fantastic. And I finished, and I knew I was going to finish under 3:20, and I didn't really care that much other than that, so I kind of jogged it in a little bit as I got to the finish. I had my arms up and I just felt victorious, and it was an amazing feeling. Afterwards, I was able to also finish the race strong and also have a beer before I left kind of the finishing area, and it was delicious. It was a sweet, sweet nectar of the gods. It was amazing. And yeah, that's the race recap. Afterwards, I met up with my wife. I put on my finisher pullover, which I was very proud to wear, and it felt very good to wear because it was still pretty cold out. And we then went to the post-race kind of celebration area, which was super muddy and gross. I changed out of my Vaporflies and into my Epic Reacts, but as soon as I stepped in the grass, my feet were just soaked again. But that's okay, because then we were able to get some more Goose Island beers and have those. And then I waited to meet up with my friend Tyler Chimpney Enid. He came up from Atlanta, and he ran the marathon as well, and he was able to finish, and we were able to finally meet in person. So that was super awesome. I wish I could have spent more time with him and hang out a little bit more, but he had some other, he had family and friends to go spend time with and celebrate with them too as well, so I didn't want to take too much of his time. After that, I had seen that the night before, Gwen Jorgensen had posted on her Instagram that she was going to do an impromptu meetup, and the timing worked out perfectly after I met Tyler to go over to that spot. And my wife and I were like the first ones there, and then when she showed up, I was like the first one to say hi to her. and Pat, her husband, was there too, and I talked to both of them, and they were really gracious with their time. I know she was disappointed in her performance. I don't think that there's anything to be ashamed of for her. I understand where she's coming from. She thinks that she could have had a better race, but she killed it out there. She did great. I got to talk to them, which was really great and amazing. And then I went home, took a quick nap, ate a little bit with my wife, and then I got up, and then there was a Nike after party that I was invited to, which was super awesome. It was on a rooftop overlooking Millennium Park, the Bean. You could see the lake and a huge like balcony fireplace. It was so amazing, such a great spot. Lots of delicious food and drink. And all the people that had been working with me as we built up to the marathon through all the Nike pop-up races and all the other events leading up to the marathon were there. And I've obviously seen them at all these events, but it was great to finally, like, now the marathon's done and we can all kind of like celebrate. I feel like they've become friends of mine, and I really enjoyed spending time with them and getting to finally enjoy some time with them, you know, as friends. So that was really nice. It was just a surreal event for just a regular guy who likes to run along the lake to go on this crazy journey. And I'm definitely a little bit sad that it's over, but I'm very glad that the race is done. I had the race of my life. About at that point where I knew I needed to leave the pace group, I thought to myself, it's cold, it's raining, my feet are soaked. This is my perfect race conditions. And at that point, that's when I knew I had to go out and get it. And I don't think that had it not been for this channel and the way that I've been communicating with you guys and commenting and responding and hearing from you guys, they're giving me encouragement, who believed in me when I didn't believe in me, I don't think that I would have had the courage to go out and get it, or to even realize that yesterday was the perfect day for me to go out and try something impossible. And I'm so glad that you guys are all here with me on this journey and that you could come here and share it with me. Thank you so much. Thank you to Nike. And thank you so much for watching this video. And I'll see you guys